Hello everyone. Today I'll be completely disassembling my HK USP 45 pistol. We'll begin this disassembly by making sure the pistol is safe. Take out the magazine. Look inside the chamber. Verify that there's nothing inside the chamber. And we're ready to begin disassembly. As you notice, this takedown lever or slide stop or slide release is similar to a 1911 pistol, where it has its pin protruding on this side that you depress to move the slide lever up and away from the frame. Once you align the slide with the slide notch with the appropriate position over the slide release. Here's that notch aligning with the slide release lever. We're going to depress on the right side of the pistol to raise the lever up. And then we're going to grab it and pull it out completely out of the frame, just like that. Now we can move the slide all the way off the frame. To remove the guide rod, all you need to do is apply a little bit of forward pressure and lift the guide rod away from the barrel and then take it out of the slide. If you want to take this guide rod apart, you'll notice that this C-ring on top, the small C-ring, is what you have to take off. You'll have to pry it open, move it off of the guide rod, then you'll be able to take this retainer off, the spring retainer, which looks like a big washer. Then you'll be able to take this large long spring off. You'd have to drive out this pin from the collet and move the collet off after that to remove the secondary spring, and then you'll take the secondary retainer, which is this other washer that sits right here, off the guide rod as well, and your guide rod will be completely disassembled. With the guide rod out of the slide, you have to lift up in the barrel and take it out of the slide like so. And now we're going to remove the two pins, one pin that holds the extractor in place and the other pin that holds the striker in place. That's the extractor pin that I'm going to replace or remove first. I'll use my 1/8 punch to drive it out. Place the punch over the pin and we'll begin drifting it out. When my punch hits the other side of the slide, I'm just going to stop. The pin is out far enough, so I'll hold the extractor in place, especially over the spring. Take my punch out and then slowly release the extractor. Now you can take the extractor out, clean it. In my case, it's already clean because I've already disassembled this pistol and cleaned everything. Here's the extractor spring. Now we're going to remove the other pin, the pin that holds the striker in place. Start driving out that pin. I'm probably not going to take it out all the way, but here it is. Take my punch out. You saw that the striker moved back slightly. Now I'm going to depress on the safety. Okay, move the striker back all the way. And now that's out. Now we can release the safety and take it out as well. There's also a spring in there, so we'll shake that out. Okay, there it is. First, let's lower the hammer. Place your finger over the hammer and hold it in place. Pull the trigger and slowly let the hammer right forward. We're going to remove this pin to take out the mainspring and take the tension off of the hammer. You will need to place your thumb over the lanyard loop assembly, apply pressure, which will free this pin, and this pin will easily fall out. Then slowly release the lanyard loop assembly and take it out completely. You'll then be able to remove the mainspring. Now we'll look at the top of the frame, and you'll notice that there is one pin right there that holds a lot of parts in place. One of the parts is this detent, the sear, the catcher, the sear actuator latch, and the disconnector are all held by this one pin. We're going to first remove the detent. I'm going to place my finger over the detent so it doesn't fly out, and apply just enough pressure to the pin to move it past the detent, just like that, and the detent will be free to come out. I'm going to push my punch all the way through, or push the pin out all the way, and I'm using a 3/32 punch to drive this pin out. Now I'm going to take the punch out, and we'll start removing these parts one at a time. First, I'll remove the disconnector by lifting it out. Then I'm going to remove the sear actuator latch and the catch, and usually they come out together because they are meant to work together, and you'll see that this little protrusion on the catch actually interacts with the sear actuator latch. So we'll take these parts out and set them aside, and the only part remaining here is the sear, and I'm actually going to use my punch to take it out because it's held in place by a spring, a flat spring. So here's the sear. We can remove the control lever right here, but right now it's held in place by a detent sitting in this slot right there. There's a spring sitting right inside here under the detent. A larger punch to depress that detent, press it down, and you just saw that it freed my control lever. Move it out just like that. I can slowly release the detent and shake it out of the frame. There it is. Okay. So there's that detent. At this point, we can take out the hammer axle, which is right here, and we're going to need to make sure that our trigger bar doesn't jump up. So I'm going to place my finger over the trigger bar right here. This is the trigger bar. I'll hold that in place, and I'm going to use my punch, and you'll notice that inside this hole you'll see the edge of the hammer axle. So I'm just going to go against that edge to drive the axle out, and you saw that it came out on this side. We're going to take it and remove it altogether. Now we can take out the hammer, and while I'm still holding the trigger bar, you'll see inside here the hammer strut, which will fall out if I flip the frame over. Here's the hammer strut. Now I'm going to release the trigger bar, take it out of the frame, and you'll notice that there is a detent sitting inside there, right here, that also has a spring under it. So I'm going to shake it out of the frame, and it just fell out right here. So we'll move that off to the side. The trigger bar simply sits inside one of these trigger legs, I guess. So the way you put it together is by engaging that little opening with the trigger bar. Okay, so your trigger bar is now out completely. Now we're going to remove the trigger. We do this by driving out this pin. We need to go from right to left and drive it out completely. Okay, so there's that pin. Set that aside. Now, when removing the punch, make sure that that spring, the trigger return spring, doesn't jump out. So I'm just going to place my finger over it and then take my punch out. And you saw that my trigger just fell out. The spring is free. So I'm going to shake it out. To remove the slide stop spring, which you see right here, I'm simply going to grab it. I'm going to pull it down and then take the spring out. Now in my case it comes out a little bit lighter because I've already removed it before, but that top leg of the spring is what's going to give you as much resistance as you will get when removing it out of the frame, because it kind of digs into the upper side of the frame, and that's what makes it difficult removing that spring. Now we're going to remove our magazine release. I'm going to hold the magazine release because there's a spring under it. I'm going to hold it in place, make sure that it doesn't get out, and I'm going to push this pin out just like that. Now I can slowly move the magazine release out of the frame, make sure not to lose that spring. There's the magazine release right there. The only other spring to remove is this flat spring. So you'll see that little leg right there that holds onto the frame, and I'll show you that upside down. That leg, you'll need to press down on it and make sure that it doesn't interact with the frame anymore, like that. And now you can take the spring out. Again, I'm going to use this tool simply because it's already here. I'm just going to grab my flat spring, and now your HK USP 45 frame is completely disassembled. You cannot remove the ejector because you'll see that it's a part of this big plate on the side. You can't take it out of the frame.